Hey friends, how's it going? Welcome back. It's Thursday. I know. It's the day before Halloween. Pretty crazy, right? I know. It's coming really fast and it came really fast and I was planning to do a video about, some ghost stories and stuff like that, and it just isn't going to happen this year, friends. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I'm ill prepared. It came sooner than later. And I didn't really get any good ghost stories to share with you guys. I just really kind of didn't. And, there's some good stories out there to be had, but I didn't really dive into any to relate to you guys. So besides the ones I've already shared, those were all my own experiences. So those are special in their own right. But yeah, I like Halloween. It's fun. I went to a Halloween party last Saturday and enjoyed myself greatly and saw a lot of good friends. Stayed up way too late. But at any rate, yeah, so my apologies. No Halloween content this year. I'm probably going to be carving a jack-o'-lantern on Halloween, as is tradition. But, yeah, no jack-o'-lantern here on the bench like I was talking about and were hoping for. So my apologies. But if I do carve a jack-o'-lantern on Halloween, then you will see it. I will make a reel for my channel, and you can see that. You'll get some Halloween content regardless, I think, in some small dose. But it's not going to be a 20 to 30 minute video here on my platform. But anyway, it's warm. It's a brisk, I want to say it's 80 something outside. Let me see, what is it? Actually, it's 91. It's 91 degrees outside. Yeah, 91 degrees the day before Halloween. Where's my fall autumn weather? Why is it so warm? Anyways, yeah. What it is, that's right. But oh well, it's Southern California. It's LA County. It's going to do what it does. It's no way around it. But anyways, had a fun Saturday. Besides the Halloween party, earlier this last week, I got a message from somebody that is a subscriber of mine. That's right. And it was the subscriber who suggested or asked or requested that I make a video about what type of lantern one should look for and what one should expect to pay and everything. So the subscriber that made that suggestion reached out to me after I made the video kind of touching upon that topic and answering those questions. And he hit me up on Facebook and he just like, hey Rob, I made that comment, blah, 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 and he introduced himself and everything was really cool. And we had a little exchange, and come to find out he lives down near Riverside, and he was thinking of coming up and paying me a visit if I had anything to sell. Now, some people might be weirded out by someone wanting to come over and, buy lanterns or whatever, and I've sold plenty of things on Marketplace, and I've had nothing but positive experiences. But, some people are very apprehensive to meet people off the internet just cold like that. But, I've taken that roll of the dice, and I've met some really cool people. Like subscriber and friend Steve Young is one of those cases. He bought a lantern off of me off of Marketplace, and he came up here to pick it up, and here we are. We're good friends. I think we are. Yeah, we're good friends. And we're both lantern collectors, and we like all that stuff, and we always have a good time hanging around the campfire and spinning yarns and telling jokes. And then so this guy, he says, yeah, if you're free this weekend, I'm free. Let's meet up and I'll buy a lantern off of you if you got one for sale. So I dug up a lantern that I was willing to sell, and he, sure enough, he came up on Saturday morning, and I had a pot of coffee ready to go, and we sat here and had coffee and talked about all sorts of things. And we talked about antiques. We talked about interest in the past and why we were interested in the past, and talked about relationships. He's married. He's got 2 daughters, and He talked about them and their interest in the past, and that they like old movies and music from the 40s, and he doesn't know why that is, and he can't put a finger on why these young daughters of his are interested in the 30s and 40s stuff, and they have really had no exposure to it, I would say. But I talked about my interest in that stuff and that generation and that era, and I was the only one in my family that was really heavily influenced by those decades. And we talked about that and what that might mean and all that. We explored it and talked about my new relationship and how that's going, and the connection that I have with her, and the things that we've talked about. So, it's fascinating. But we had these conversations. He was here around 10:18, right around there, early part of 10 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it was 3:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, it was 3:30 in the afternoon, so my whole day practically was spent just sitting out here talking. As I've done many evenings with friends and whatnot, and it's not a problem. I didn't really have anything planned except for going to this Halloween party later. But yeah, he bought a lantern and he even gave me a bit of a tip. So, I had a really nice experience, and I have to say that, of all the people I've met several. Either through the Tubular Lantern group, meeting them down at the Kirkman's house, not at their house, but at their warehouse, at their business in Ramona there, and meeting some other people that are into antique lanterns and that are members of the group on Facebook, I've gotten to know a few people, and I've really been impressed with who they are and how they conduct themselves and their outlook on life and a lot of things. And I have something that I've been really kind of tossing around, but I don't want to get too deep. But when you collect something that provides light, that's the intention. It was designed to burn a flame that would provide light when you needed it, either in the early morning or late at night or whatever. But when you needed light, when darkness was present. So, there's been so many evenings I've sat out here in the garage and, I would burn a lantern and listen to music and, just kind of meditate out here. But focusing on that little light, that little flame, it brings some peace. It really does. And, I realize that the people that do enjoy these antique lanterns, they focus on light. They focus on the thing that pushes darkness away. And you could say that it's either a spiritual thing or just a physical thing, but I think there's more to it. And I know that a lot of people find peace and some solitude and comfort in doing that, looking at a flame and thinking about life, what life was like in the era that flame was burning originally, So there's something to be said about that, I think. But speaking of old things and things that have been around for a very long time, I'm going to share with you the next lantern on Rob's favorite list. It's not the top, it's not number one, but it's definitely up there. And this piece is very special and very old. This is a R.E. Dietz number O. Now, it's not marked R.E. Dietz. Nowhere is it marked. But certain details will indicate that it is. Now, these little clips up here that hold the bail to the top draft tube, the cross tube here, well, this style of clips here are R.E. Dietz. And the overall construction is, and the thumb wheel on the regulator is patented 1870. The last patent date on the draft tube, you can see the draft tube patents there. Yeah. But the last one is May 4, 1869. And it's also on the globe. And you might not be able to really make that out on the globe that much, but there is embossing. If you were to see it with your own eyes and look at it carefully, you could tell that it says, patented May 4, 1869. Yeah, it's true. But this is a special little lantern here, and it's in a burrow size, but it takes a 3/8 wick, like a comet. I know it's or just a between size. It's between the comet size and the 5/8 wick, or somewhere right around there. It's not 4/8. It's something, I don't know. It's small. It's small, but it makes enough light for what it does, for what its purpose is. But this thing is a very special lantern. It's the oldest lantern I own. And did you notice that there's no spout? No fuel spout on the fount. Well, that's because to fuel this lantern, you have to do this. You have to take the globe out and the plate, the cone, take the burner out, and fill it right through the burner cup. That's right there. So you have to dismantle the lantern to fuel it. Yeah, it's true. You do. How do you light it, Rob? Well, you can light it just like this and put it all back together, or use the match hole right there. A little match hole there. So you can put that in line with the wick. Put the globe back in. Get a match, and we can light it. Come on, get it. It's a little tricky sometimes. There you go. There you are. That's nice. Perfect. Perfect little flame. Beautiful. So yeah, there we are. Dietz, RE Dietz, first generation RE Dietz. Prior to this they were Dietz and Smith. Yeah. But became RE Dietz, and then the rest is history. In 1940, they celebrated 100 years of business, from 1840 to 1940, and 2040 hasn't happened yet, but there will be no 200th anniversary, no bicentennial for RE Dietz, because they're done. They are. Sadly, they are. They're expired. The Chinese government overtook their manufacturing, and I don't think they're making anything anymore, from what I've understood. And it's sad because they were a very instrumental company in the early days and through the 20th century as well. But we have a lot of lanterns that they manufactured still, and they're good. They're not the same quality as they once were when they were made here in the States, but for what it's worth, they were a decent quality compared to a lot of other things. But yeah, everything suffers when the care leaves the room. Care is a very important ingredient why things are meaningful or things are quality, and people don't understand that all the time. Like, why is this like this? What's the matter with this thing? Why isn't it as well made? It's because people aren't caring enough to do it, to make it better, and they focus on their bottom line and making more and selling them for cheap and having you buy another one sooner than later. That's right. And that can be applied to a lot of things just besides lanterns. I mean, lanterns aren't being bought like they used to, not at all. People are collecting them now and using them for outdoor lighting and in atmosphere, and not really lighting their home unless the power goes out. And that's limited too, because a lot of people have battery operated LED lanterns and lamps and now. So, and that's fine. They make a lot of light, and you don't want to be in the dark, but me, I like burning this stuff because it might be dark, but at least it's cozy. I really don't like bright LED lighting. Now, I have to be careful because there are warm temperature LED lights out there, and they're great, and they're pleasant. I don't mind them. But most people that buy LED, they're very cold, daylight white. They're harsh, very stark, and very depressing. For me, I'm very sensitive to light temperatures, and I really am. And it's It's something that I think other people are affected by. I think emotionally, psychologically, light can dictate your mood. And it has a lot to do with it. And I think a lot of people are upset and grumpy without even knowing why. Because our world, our outdoor lighting, and the lights on our cars and the lights in our homes are cold temperature. And I drive down the road sometimes here in town, and I see porch lights and I see lights inside of people's homes that are pale blue, cold lighting. And at first they don't think of anything, it's just light. It just lights a room. It's so you can see, but that lighting is actually killing your melatonin, so you are not sleeping as deeply, and it causes a lot of problems over amount of time. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a pendulum swing, because the lighting on my street was just replaced from the amber peach sodium fluorescent fixtures from the 1970s to the to LED, but they're warm temperature LED lighting, and it gives a kind of an incandescent light throw, which is amazing. It works great, and it looks great, and it's bright, but without being overbearing. And that's the other thing. Cold temperature can be bright, but it's also very harsh, and it really hurts my eyes. It really does, and I just get so annoyed when I see people coming at me at night with these bright LED lights, and everyone's like, "Well, I can see better." Yes, I'm glad that you could see better, but everyone else can't see anything but your lights. And the thing that really kind of is sad about our culture is now it's a very inward culture. It's if it works for me, then that's all that matters. Hang everybody else's feelings or opinions. Now, it's always a fine rope to be walked along that. It's good to keep in mind other people, but of course not too much so. I mean, it's a balancing act. It is, but yeah, I just hate those bright lights. They are dangerous. They blind me. I can't see anything around them. I can't see any other car on the road at night besides those bright lights. And I'm just waiting for a really fatal, tragic accident that would be caused by overly bright LED cold temperature headlamps. And I know that's coming. I know it's going to be a thing. And there's no reason anyone needs that bright a light or to light up the nighttime like daytime. There's just no need. It's just not necessary. But anyways, that's my rant about that. But this stuff is very nice. It's very peaceful. It's quiet. I can sit in a beautiful environment, or even on the threshold of the garage and have a cigar, hear the crickets chirp, and just find peace, find inner peace. And it's important. And this stuff really kind of does it. Yeah. Let me turn that down a little bit. Now, did you notice it was kind of low to begin with, and it kind of got bigger, kind of full height? Well, that's because as it warms up, it regulates itself a little bit, because as the fuel warms, then it becomes more efficient, and then that makes the flame a little bigger. But for a hot blast, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Good little flame there. But yeah, this is your first generation tubular. Most early tubulars of the 60s and 70s looked like this. Denison Wheeler, Chicago, Dietz and Smith, and then eventually R.E. Dietz. Yeah. Pretty fun stuff, I think. And it's neat to have a piece this old that predates even having a spout on it for refueling. You have to take it all apart to refuel it. It's a neat piece. It's not my number one pick, but that's coming. And I know that you guys, I'm sure, enjoyed seeing this once again. But the early construction of these lanterns is really fascinating, and it's really fun. I have one other lantern that has this kind of construction, and that would be my Dietz spring top from the early 80s, late 70s. And it's fun to have some, late 19th century type of pieces that were part of the American West and made during that time. and just after the Civil War, and interesting time in our country for a lot of reasons. To look at that flame and know that when that flame first was lit, that there were still tribes on the plains, First Nations people, you know. It's amazing to think about that and know what's happened since and after that time. But to know the history, to commemorate it and to understand it and to respect it, and the people that descended from those early pioneers and those tribes, you know, and it's interesting. It's something I do think about. I guess you could say I am a bit of a humanist because I do consider the human spirit a very important thing, important ingredient in life and everything, and I'm very aware of it. I've experienced a lot of very interesting connections with people over the years, and that definitely has not ceased. It's definitely increased, in fact. And you know, having a stranger here to the garage a couple times just within the same month, like Dave came through here and I met him for the first time, but we all had a fun time hanging out with John Chittum and getting some lunch and making a video. And then this recent guy, call him James, you know, it's amazing. It really is. It's cool stuff. Someone's fan on their Suburban was very loud. It's crazy. But anyways, human connections is a very important thing in life, and a lot of people discount it because they feel that people are out there to use and abuse everybody. And, you know, yeah, sure, there are people that do that. I've been a victim of that too, but I've also received some beautiful things from so many, and beautiful moments and experiences because of people that have a genuine heart. And those guys are the ones that really make the difference. So, yeah. Light up a lantern. Tonight, depending on your weather, wherever you're at, sit outside at dusk. Watch the sunset finally just complete. Light a lantern. Sip on something of your choice. And reflect on some things if you can. You know, if you have a spouse or a loved one nearby, definitely see if they'd join you and enjoy those moments together, because that's where it is. That's where it's at. And I've done that. I've done that with the lady that I'm in a relationship right now, and it's special. And she likes lanterns too. And we sit out here and we burn some kerosene and we sip on some nice bourbon occasionally, and we talk about a lot of interesting things, a lot of deep things, and it's beautiful, you know. It really is. It's unlike anything I've ever had, and yeah. So build those relationships and enjoy this stuff. So. A neighbor walking a dog, his cute little coconut thing. But anyways, yeah, definitely make a time for those people in your life that you love and care about, and share this stuff with them. You never know how much they actually will appreciate it. And share it with those people that you meet, and they might think that you're crazy at first, but then once they sit down and actually enjoy this with you, then they will say, okay, I think I get it. Yeah, I think I get it. You know, it's beautiful. Okay, guys, we're running a little late now, but have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your Halloween holiday, whatever you choose to do. If you're handing out candy or going to a party, do it safely. And enjoy the people you're with. Make memories. That's really important. Take care, and we will see you in a week's time. Bye-bye. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.